The apparent victory for the president coming less than 24 hours after former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI. Flynn is cooperating with special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation of Russian interference in the 2016 election.
On Friday, President Trump ignored questions from reporters as he welcomed Libya's prime minister to the White House.
President, any comment on Michael Flynn being indicted, sir?
CBS News Justice correspondent Jeff Pegues is in our Washington bureau with more. Jeff, good morning.
Good morning. White House lawyer Ty Cobb tried to put some distance between the president and the guilty plea by saying that the charge implicates no one other than Michael Flynn. But Flynn's cooperation with the special counsel signals that the Russia investigation is moving closer to the president's inner circle. Michael Flynn arrived at the courthouse to plead guilty to making false statements to the FBI. Once inside, a federal judge asked him if he was doing so willingly and voluntarily. The 58-year-old former lieutenant general answered with a simple, "Yes, sir." According to court papers, Flynn lied to FBI agents about the details of 2 phone calls he had with then Russian Ambassador to the U.S., Sergey Kislyak, during the presidential transition. CBS News has learned Flynn was directed to make the first call by President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, described in court papers as a very senior member of the transition team. On December 22, 2016, Flynn called Kislyak to urge Russia to delay or defeat a United Nations resolution concerning Israeli settlements. A week later, Flynn spoke to Kislyak again, this time about new sanctions imposed by the Obama administration on Russia. He relayed to the ambassador that the Trump team did not want Russia to escalate the situation. Flynn made that call after consulting with someone court papers identify as a senior transition official. CBS News has learned that was Flynn's deputy, KT McFarland. After the second Kislyak call, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced that he would not retaliate for the U.S. sanctions. And President-elect Trump tweeted Putin was very smart.
All right, lock her up.
Flynn was a loyal Trump surrogate during the campaign, but he was fired as the president's national security advisor after just 24 days when it became clear he had also lied to Vice President Pence about his communications with Kislyak. Pence had publicly said they did not discuss sanctions.
It was strictly coincidental that they had a conversation. They did not discuss anything having to do with the United States' decision to expel diplomats or impose a censure against Russia.
Flynn's plea deal with the special counsel's office requires him to cooperate with the investigation. In a statement, Flynn said his actions were wrong and his guilty plea was in the best interest of my family and of our country. What does Flynn's cooperation signal about the direction of this investigation?
Signals it's going forward and it's moving and advancing very quickly.
Peter Zeidenberg is a former federal prosecutor.
If anyone was going to be interacting with the Russians or would know about it, it would be Flynn. So if you can get him to talk, it would be worth giving him a great deal.
Considering the allegations against him, this was a good deal for Flynn, who might have otherwise faced decades behind bars. He was under scrutiny for other alleged crimes, including failing to disclose payments from Russian-backed companies and trying to orchestrate the kidnapping of a Turkish cleric in exchange for $15 million. Alex.
Jeff, you say this is a good deal for Mike Flynn. What indications do we have about the level of cooperation he may be offering to special counsel?
Well, in his own statement, he said that he took this plea deal and that he will be cooperating with the special counsel's investigation. Mike Flynn is a unique individual in this investigation, and I say that because he straddled the campaign, the transition, and then the first few weeks of this White House. And he was at the top levels of the campaign transition and that White House early on. And so he was in on some of these top-level discussions. And what investigators are trying to figure out is why the Russians were so intent on helping the Trump campaign and whether any deals were made.
Jeff, you reported that Jared Kushner directed Flynn to make contact with the Russian ambassador about a UN resolution. What might this mean for the president's son-in-law in terms of this investigation?
Well, Kushner has already been under scrutiny. For example, he left about 100 meetings off a security clearance form that he had to fill out accurately, including meetings with Russians. So he's under scrutiny for that. Also, he was reportedly in on the conversations when it came to the firing of former FBI Director James Comey. So the scrutiny has been there on Kushner. It now increases. We know that he was interviewed by the special counsel's office early last month, and most of those questions, we're told, focused on Flynn. So the heat is on Jared Kushner as well.
All right, Jeff Pegues. Thank you, Jeff.